Yeah, I guess I'd ask you this, right? Because you've been in this probably the longest anybody here. What advice would you give to a young guy or a friend that you knew that was looking to get into this business? Like, what's the ups, what's the downs? What advice would you give?
Get used to computers because everything's going computer based. It's not like the old days.
He's fast.
He can type, talk, and sing at the same
Yeah,
time.
he'll be like looking over there. And
And knew he made a mistake.
yeah. I think for me, some advice would be it's not just with your hands, right? I think there's a lot of like for me, I grew up and I did a lot of like Legos and kinetics or whatever they call it, connects, right?
Yep.
And it was opening a book and like going through the sheets and like, okay, connect this, and it just keeps growing, growing, growing. And that's a lot of what we do. And in the trades, sure, there's some of that, but when you think of like plumbers and electricians and things like that, sure, they're following a schematic and they're doing this. But when it comes to like automotive, you're not only, you're kind of putting it all together, right? You're going into a manual and you're reading like, this is how it's done. This is how you remove it and put it back together. And then it's almost, for me being OCD, it helped me a lot over the years, but you're taking it apart and you're putting it, like I strategically put it, take it apart and put it in spots on my box or on, places on the cowl so I can put it back together. So I feel like it's kind of going back to when I was a kid, right? And going through the book and, here, this is how it goes together and whatnot. So yes, I think definitely need to be good with your hands, but yeah, as you said, Terry, it's becoming more computerized. So you got to be good with, the IT world too, to be able, now we don't even have books or people fight me on ordering the manuals to have in the shop here. It's all online. So you got to search it and look up and know what you're looking for too.
It's not just working with your hands. You really got to think through some stuff too. Not everything is just taking apart brakes, engine, suspension. As far as electrical goes, you kind of have to build that pathway in your mind of like what's going on and what's causing this issue to figure some things out.
Well, and now the new cars compared to like the 90s cars, right? There was maybe one computer, right? Yep. PCM, power control module, that did everything that needed on the car. Now we have
20,
30 modules, and they're all talking on these different networks, high speed CAN, low speed CAN, high speed 1, high speed 2, medium speed. I mean, you're talking every car now has
some of my favorite stuff is when something like that gets messed up. One of the networks goes down, you got to figure out what's going on. You got to
start figuring it out.
All kinds of weird issues.
And the only positive thing we have is they do split them, right? So maybe the only medium speed's down, so we can now go through these modules. Terry's looking at me like, you're talking gibberish to me.
But then you have modules that communicate on every network. And
so that could take down Ford lines, yeah.
Like an engineering convention.
But no, it has advanced so far. I mean, it has really come a long way.
It's not the same problem anymore.
No.
It's always something different.
But it's advanced along with the tools that we use to diagnose. Like scan tool and the software we use to diagnose cars nowadays gives you so much more information than you ever could have gotten in the early 2000s on some of that early stuff.
Oh yeah.
Terry just used to get a code.
you see a light.
Go find the book.
You see a light blink on the module.
Like OBD1.
Right.
Yeah, OBD1, you had to jump the terminals to get it to beep it out. Oh, was that a 3 or a 4?
Right.
You got to wait for it to come back around.
Yeah, damn it.